This is continuing from the previous broadcast. We got kicked out for some reason, so just know that there's a part that began earlier. So he's saying that when if you stop to think about all the things that you know and all the things that you believe in, is it because you were taught to believe that, or is it because you know that this is the way it is? So the truth of the matter is that most people, most of us, most of the time, if we start examining that, we'll be pretty surprised to realize that a lot of what I believe is because my father taught me, my teachers taught me, and so on. That's the reality of life, How many people are there like Noach? How many people are there like Abraham Avinu that will search for the truth no matter what, right? Because one of the things we were discussing the other day, actually, I don't know, yeah, we did that piece also, was that actually Rav Steinsaltz discusses it in this week's Parsha. It says that Noach was ma'amin ve'eno ma'amin. He believed and he didn't believe. Even though it says that he was a tzaddik, it says in the Torah that he's a tzaddik, he believed that he wouldn't have this. He was on a lower level of faith than Abraham Avinu. So Reb Shlomo explained, what didn't he believe? He didn't believe how much God believes in him. And but in general, can you imagine what it was like for Noach? Shem says to him, build an ark, right? And because there's going to be a flood, and it takes him 120 years to do this, right? So now he's got to go and order the wood. And they say to him, why do you need so much wood? He says, oh, I'm building an ark. Why are you building an ark? Because there's going to be a flood. When? In 120 years. Okay? And people think this guy's crazy, right? And he starts to build it, and people start making jokes about him, and they make plays about him, about this crazy man in the community. They bring kids on a school tour to see this idiot or whatever it is, right? Takes tremendous faith to do something that everybody else around you is telling you you're out of your mind, right? Abraham Avinu is known as Abraham HaIvri, right? What's the meaning of the word HaIvri?
On the other side of the...
So, right, so some translate it as Ivrit, right? But it literally, Avel means side. Abraham had the courage to walk on the other side of the street. The whole world was on one side. Abraham Avinu had the courage to say, this is false. And he went on the journey, right? Now, even on a personal level, let's say, Michal, you decide for the next 30 years of your life, you're going to be a tzaddik. Nobody is, but don't tell anybody.
If I can be a Benjamin,
that's because you're all about it. Okay, so what would happen with the people around you? It would be like, what's he doing? Does he think he's better than us? Why is he trying to be? Why is he acting differently? And even never mind, even if you were by yourself on an island, okay, and you decide that you're going to be a tzaddik, your past history is going to keep on bothering you. Like, why are you changing so much? What's going on? Like, what you did yesterday wasn't good enough, and so on, right? So a lot of people, they have a sense of yeah, there's something special. There's something that I need to do, that I want to do, that's going to make my life really special, and so on. I really want to connect with God. Okay, but they look around themselves, and they don't. Unfortunately, they don't meet anyone that is for real. You know the story about Moshe, the water carrier. Reb Shlomo used to say this story all the time, and he tells the story about the Sochachover, that he was a son-in-law of the Kotzker, and he came to live in this town in Sochach, I think it was Sochachover, and being that he was from Kotsk, Kotsk was all about truth. In Kotsk, there was no room for anything less than truth. That's why he didn't have too many Hasidim. You know, it was like fierce. So the Sochachover is in this town, and he's looking for like who's a real Yid. And he was getting disappointed. He couldn't find anybody until one day he found this one Yid who was a water carrier, a simple Yid, and he tried to become friends with him. Anyway, this man sort of shied away from him. In any case, when he passed away, the Sochachover would make a Yortzeit meal on the day of his passing every year to honor him. And he would tell the story, like, you know, and people wanted to know, like, what was so special about him? So Sochachover says that one night he was walking around in town, and he comes to this poor part of the town, and he sees that there's by the way, you can hear Reb Shlomo telling the story on YouTube. Moshe the water carrier. And he sees that Moshe the water carrier, or maybe it was a Bremeler, Moshe, it doesn't matter. And he's got a bunch of friends with him, other water carriers, and they're having a little celebration. So he comes up to the house and he says, "Hey, Moshe, like, you know, what's going on? Can I?" And he says, "Oh, we're having a little celebration." So he says, "Can I come in?" So he says, "Of course." And everybody else says, "Yeah, Moshe, what's this celebration about?" So he says, "Let me tell you." He says, "Every night, like all the other water carriers, I get up at 3 a.m. And the first thing I do is I go and I bring 2 buckets of water to the synagogue, so that the people who are studying there and the people who are sleeping there, they should have some water to wash their hands in the morning." And it's really quiet at that time. And I always go over to the Rona Kodesh and I open it up and I say, "God, Ribono Shel Olam, it's me, Moshe, the water carrier. We're so poor. We hardly have anything. Please, God, if one time you can give me 1,000 rubles so that I can get back on my feet, I would be the happiest man in the world. I'll be able to feed my family properly, buy them some proper clothes." Anyway, I've been doing this for years. And he says, a couple of days ago, it's still dark outside. I left the synagogue, and as I'm walking, my foot hit something. And I took a look, and I saw that it was a pouch with money. I picked it up, and there was 1,000 rubles inside. He says, "You can't imagine my joy." But I didn't tell anyone. But he says, "Rabbi, you know how heavy those pitchers of water are? Did you ever see, like, they would have a stick with 2 big pitchers?" He says that he says usually you just schlep it. It's so hard to carry, but I was dancing with them. Anyway, I didn't tell anybody about it because I wasn't 100% sure. Later in the evening, when I went to shul for Mincha Maariv, I see there's a whole commotion, and Hannah is standing crying, and people are around her. And why is she crying? Because her husband, the Bremeler, who was also a water carrier, he had passed away. And in the community, among the water carriers and everybody, like, they managed to put together 1,000 rubles. so that she should have what to feed, for her family, and she lost it. And as I heard her say that she lost it, I knew right away, this must be her money that I found. I got so upset with God. I said, God, if you want to give me 1,000 rubles to take it away from Hanale, I'm not giving it back. And I went home. I didn't even walk into the shul. I went home. I just lay down in bed, cried and put the pillow over my face. And finally, I fell asleep. In the middle of my sleep, I heard somebody crying. And I'm like looking, like, who's crying? And finally, I realized that it was my neshama, it was my soul that was crying. And my soul was saying, Moshe, all your life you trusted God. And now you need him more than ever. And now you're giving up your trust in God? Don't. And I said to my soul, so what should I do? So my soul said, get up now and go and return the money right away. So he says, when you hear your neshama, you have to listen. And I got up and I went to Chanale's house and I knocked on the door, gave her the money. And he says, the joy that I had seeing Chanale's face beginning to shine and the way she thanked me in her name and the name of her children, the name of her late husband, nothing could replace that. So what I'm celebrating tonight, he says to his friends, what I'm celebrating is that I didn't lose touch with my soul. And the Sachet Shabbat says to everybody that's at the Yortzeit meal, he says, I don't know about you, how many real people you managed to meet in your life, but I know that I met one, Moshe the water carrier. Okay? So what Reb Shlomo is basically getting at over here is that what does it mean to be a real person? Right? What does it mean to be for real? What does it mean to be a real Jew, a real rabbi? And by the way, my father, Olav Shalom, when we used to walk to shul in the morning years ago, he would stop children and he'd say to the kids, what's your father, a Jew or a rabbi? And they'd look at him like, what? And or he'd say to the kid, what do you want to be when you grow up, a Jew or a rabbi? Now, you want to hear the amazing thing? The amazing thing is that to this day, when I'm in Montreal, like just a couple of months ago, in the mikveh, this Lubavitcher Chassid, he says to me, he says, your father used to ask me what I want to be when I grow up. I want to be a Jew or a rabbi. He's a rabbi now, okay? And that question is in my head all the time. Okay? You understand? Being a rabbi is not necessarily being a Jew. Okay? A rabbi should be a Jew. Okay? And what Reb Shlomo is saying is, what Reb Shlomo is saying is that, you want to say hi to your mother? And what Reb Shlomo is saying is that people want to see real people. And what's a real person? A real person means that you're in touch with your neshama. You know that you it's not just, oh yes, I have a soul. Mazel tov, I have money in my back pocket, I have a keys in this pocket. I have the soul somewhere in my body. Yeah, great. But are you in touch with your neshama? Are you in touch with your soul? Are you listening to your soul? Or are you just keeping your soul in exile and letting it be concealed and staying in exile? Okay? So he says that you see people, and you see people, even sometimes they're doing something bad, and it's not that they're not necessarily bad. That it could very well be that they really, really believed, and they really wanted to be in touch with their soul, and or the person that was their teacher or their rabbi or whatever it is ended up turning out to be a person who himself wasn't so much in touch with his soul, and so on, and they get so disappointed that they just say forget the whole thing. I mean, we've had our share of stories over the last couple of years, like of rabbis in America and in Israel and so on that have behaved in very inappropriate ways. So what happens to the ordinary person? Oh, if the rabbi is like this, so why should I bother? Now, the truth is, if it happens to be your experience that that's the kind of teacher that you had, or that's the kind of rabbi that you had, it's still your responsibility to be a good Jew. Mm-hmm. Okay? But most people develop their identity on the basis of other people. Okay? And then when the other one crashes, Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. Right? All the king's soldiers, all the king's men couldn't put Humpty Dumpty together again. Well, when that happens in your life and Humpty Dumpty fell and crashes, so that means Hashem is saying, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? Right? Are you going to... So let's say I have 1,000 good excuses. Okay, I have 1,000 good excuses, but where does that leave me? So I have 1,000 good excuses why I'm not moving forward. Okay, good. So therefore, you're going to stay stuck in where you are right now because you have 1,000 excuses for not moving forward. So good. So we're not going to hold you. We're not going to say that you're guilty. We're not going to say that we're going to say we understand you. We understand you. Yosef, right? I've mentioned this a number of times. Imagine you see this Jew is eating pork on Yom Kippur. And you go over to him and you say, excuse me, do you know that it's Yom Kippur? So he says, what do you think I am? I'm a Jew. I know it's Yom Kippur. Do you know that this is pork? Of course I know it's pork. I ordered it. You know that it's not kosher? So he says, I know it's not kosher. What do you think? I'm a goy? So you say to him, well, what are you doing? He says, oh, you want to talk to me about religion? Let me tell you something. I have 10 brothers, rabbis. And you want to hear what they did to me? They nearly killed me. They sold me into slavery. You still want to talk to me about religion? Okay. So Yosef had every excuse in the world to say, forget it. Right? Forget it. Who wants to hear about this kind of stuff, right? But good. So if he would have said that, so what would the rest of his life have been? So he'd be an assimilated Jew somewhere in Egypt or whatever it was, and he wouldn't be who he was meant to be. So if something happened in my life, and I'm sure it happened in most people's lives, and that maybe I shouldn't say most, but in many people's lives, okay. And I had plenty of excuses to run away from Yiddishkeit. Okay, and for a while, I did. But if I would have stayed away, so where would it get me? Would I have? What would have happened? Understand? The excuses are good. You know what? You're not fully responsible. It's not really completely your fault. Wonderful. But if I'm going to just stay where I'm stuck, so then I'm not going anywhere. Okay? So that's what he's saying over here. Is you have to understand that people, if you're going to talk to somebody about Shabbos, if you're going to talk to somebody about kosher, if you're going to talk to somebody about any word of Torah, they want to know, is it coming from your guts? Is it coming from your inside? And like the Gemara says, words that are coming from the heart, they enter the heart. Okay? And when you sit down to learn, it's in the evening, you're at home, you want to open up a sefer, you want to learn a few words of Torah, right? So do you just want knowledge, or do you want these words to be shining in your heart? Okay? And that's the relationship between prayer and study. Understand? Reb Nachman says you have to pray to study, and you have to turn your learning into prayers. Okay?
Before we go further, in this generation especially, there is a great bulge. Since coming to Israel, I have been in a shul where the majority are Baal Teshuvah and Gerim. I never met a Ger in my life. And every Ger that I have asked, why did you become religious? And they give me a whole list. I said, why didn't you become Reformed? It's closer to your religion. And they all gave me the same answer. They wanted authentic Judaism.
Yeah.
Now, these are people that have turned their backs on their way of life. Some are even estranged from their families because of this. So maybe when this was written, this was true. Maybe the environment instilled in these people a non-religious. But there are.
There are. I didn't say everybody. There are.
And it's not just a few. We're looking at
You're living. Baruch Hashem, you're meeting a number of them, but percentage-wise, it's very small. Right? Yeah. It's very small percentage-wise. And at the same time, by the way, there are just as many, or I shouldn't say just as many, but there are also a lot of kids who've grown up in religious homes who are leaving.
After their, it could be the environment in which I place myself, like coming here or the various shuls.
Well, Nachlaot is not quite an example of all other environments in the world. Okay.
I want to add something you're talking about. If you see rabbis who are acting, as you call it, inappropriately, sometimes criminally. Sometimes if you just see the majority of people how they act, why should I be good when so many are not good? People ask me, why are you bothered not doing what I'm doing for the environment? You're going to make a difference. You're only one person. Right. You're only one person. Why should you bother be good? Everyone, look at everyone else. Why should I be? Everyone else is doing bad. Why should you be good? Yeah. Everyone else is doing nuts. That's the question. Not just rabbis, even the prevailing wisdom.
Yeah, I said that even in your own, even never mind. Besides the prevailing wisdom, even with your own self, if you decide, let's say you want to be a tzaddik, that means you have to be ready to separate yourself from the way you lived your life until now. And that's very hard. Okay? So what Reb Shlomo is talking about over here in particular is that Yidden are looking for something real. Okay? So look at the second last line. Adam kazeh zakuk liyehudi pnimi. Such a person who never had that kind of deep experience, he needs somebody who's real, right? Yehudi Pnimi, I'm translating as a real Jew, somebody who's Jewish, not just on the outside, but Jewish on the inside. Or not just Jewish on the inside, but also on the outside. It's he wants the oral Torah in a way that's going to reach him inside. If Noach would have had that pnimiyut, he would have prayed for the people of his generation and he would have saved them. See, that's one of in the Hasidic form, one of the interpretations about Ma'amin, Beino Ma'amin, right? He didn't believe that he could save anybody else. He was like what they call in Yiddish, a tzaddik in pelts. You know what a pelts is, right? Tell them what a pelts is.
A pelts, in translation, it means it means a pelt of a
fur.
animal. But here it means that when it's cold, you wrap yourself in a fur coat.
The old fur coats.
And the heck with anybody else.
The thing is that on the outside it looked like a regular coat, but it was lined with fur on the inside, So that's what so the expression at tzaddik and pelts means that he's warm, but everybody else is cold.
If you
understand?
Israeli
Please. In other words, there's Noach is like a tzaddik and pelts. You understand? He was a tzaddik, but he didn't affect anybody else. Just his little circle, his family, and so on. What's the expression?
There's an expression in Hebrew called Acharei HaMabul.
After
me comes the flood. In other words, I don't care. I'm not. In other words, with everyone else.
Yeah,
it's a very common expression, colloquial expression in Hebrew. In other words, what do I care? I got through. Everyone else, I don't care about the rest of the world.
And I think it's not just that everyone else is cold. It's even worse because no one even knows that he is warm.
Right.
But I meet many people, even in Israel, I meet many people who are good people, but they're not Jews. And I've never tried to convince them. I go after here. I go out and I sit on the chair there, and people sit at the same table, and we get to talking, and they're not religious, but they're good people.
Listen, first of all, I want you to know that take a yeshiva boy. If he thinks that he's better than a not religious chayal, soldier, if that yeshiva boy would learn with as much dedication as a soldier standing at a checkpoint, it would look different in Israel. You know what I mean? It's true.
I have these.
You understand? Okay, not for now. I want to learn. Okay. So you understand. So this is the point: is that if you really are in touch with if you're really in touch with your neshama, then it's not enough for you that you're okay. You want everybody to be okay. I don't know if you read what I sent out last week on the Parshat mail. You were there when we learned it in the yeshiva the other day. In davening, there are two things that are happening. Have you come across with me? You probably learned the concept of Ratzo and Shav. No, it's okay. Julie's there. Have you heard that? Do you know that? Are you familiar? Yecheskel, in his vision of the chariot, in Yecheskel's vision of the chariot, he says, "V'hachayot ratzo v'shav." Take out another book, please.
Hi.
Hi.
Are you just starting a class?
No, we're almost finishing. But welcome. What's your name?
Ruben.
Ruben.
Hi, Jim. Sit down.
Welcome.
Sure.
So we saw the angels. There's a category of angels called Chayot. And they were Ratzot v'Shov. They were rushing forward and they were coming back. And Ratzot and Shov is a concept in Chassidut to use words that to make it understandable. Ratzot is inspiration, and Shov is application. Okay,
What's application?
application, right? You get inspired. Okay, good. It was very inspiring. Mazel tov. Now what? Right? You have to apply it. Okay. So Dr. Rebbe explains that when you're praying, there are parts of the prayer that are the aspect of Ratzon. Like the saying of Shema Yisrael is, God, I want to give myself completely to you. I want to be with you. Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. And when you're doing that with complete intention, then naturally, you will naturally love God with all your heart. In other words, what does it mean to give yourself completely to God? It means that you love God with all your heart, with all your life, with everything that you possess, with all your very much, right? That's the movement towards Hashem. Okay? The Amidah prayer is Shav. It's bringing godliness into the world. Okay? So, what does that mean? Well, take for example the blessing in the Amidah about health. Heal us, right? Baruch atah Hashem Rafeich Cholei Amo Yisrael. Blessed are you, God, who heals the sick of the people of Israel, right? What are you doing? You're just saying thank you to God? You're not just saying thank you to God. The word Baruch is from the word Barecha. It's basically the idea is that you're arousing Hashem to heal, and in the Shav process, Hashem is basically saying, you want to be with me, I want to be with you. I want to be with you. And you want me to heal, I want you to be my agent to heal. You want to be with me, you want to arouse me to provide a livelihood for everyone. I want to be with you. I want you to be my agent and help me do that. Okay? That's the show. Okay? So why did I get into this? Because the idea is that if you're really completely with God in a very pnimi way, right? So you understand it's not just about me and God and the two of us are just fine. There's also the aspect of God with you. Okay? If you're really pnimi, if you're really connected to the inside, to your innermost essence, to your soul, you don't care just about yourself. You care about Hashem, and you care about everybody else. That's the issue. So you're a very holy man. You're walking through. You're walking to do a mitzvah. You're going to shul. You're putting on your tefillin and so on and so on. Okay, beautiful. How much do you want every one of your brothers to also be putting on tefillin? Okay. I'm not fooling myself. Let's not fool ourselves. It's a very high level to be that way. Not everybody's like the Lubavitcher Rebbe. Okay? Lubavitcher Rebbe really cared that every Jewish man should put on tefillin. He really cared that every Jewish woman should light Shabbos candles. He because he was so deeply connected, he really cared. Reb Shlomo really cared that Jews should celebrate and live their Judaism joyously. He really cared about that. Understand? Because he was so connected with Hashem. He cared for God. It's like, for example, to give you just a mundane, simple example. You know, you have a really good friend, and your friend's son is gone away. He's left him. Doesn't want to speak to his father, right? If you really love the father, you want the father to be connected with his child. If you really love the child, you want the child to have a connection with his father, right? You wouldn't just say, "Well, my family is okay. I don't care about somebody else." If you love somebody, you know, you care for them, and that's the issue of pnimi. Is your Judaism just about? Is it just really about your own self and your own belief and your connection with God? Or are you listening to your soul? Your soul is a part of God. What is your soul saying? What is your soul saying to you? Now, it's not so simple. There are a lot of klipot. There's a lot of interference. There's a lot of noise in the system. That's why the second paragraph of the Shema is all about making sure that you don't worship any other gods. And other gods doesn't necessarily mean only, like, you know, a little piece of wood or a little piece of stone. Basically means anything that's a diversion from the real truth. Whether it's money or whether it's a movie or whether it's a rock star or whatever it is. You know, it's interesting. Years ago when I was teaching in Montreal, so we were learning the Ten Commandments. This was grade, maybe it was grade 8 or whatever, grade 9. And we were learning the second commandment: you shall have no other gods. You shouldn't have any false gods. And I asked the kids, like, you know, what's a false god? What's an idol? And one girl said anything the whole year. She said, rock stars. You know?
She wasn't joking.
No, she wasn't joking. She was right on. How many people do things just because the rock star does it? The rock star has a tattoo. Oh, gonna have a tattoo. You know, the rock star is dressing certain way. I gotta dress that way. I mean, bechlal, all of mankind, like, you know, you set up somebody as your idol, right? But be careful. What Shlomo's saying over here. Don't put the responsibility on somebody else. You want to dress like that? Kol hakavod, I don't care. Dress like that. But don't do it because he's doing it. And you can do it because he's doing it if you want to. Like, oh, this is a holy man. I want to be like him. You might want to do it for that reason. Okay, fine. But just know that whatever reason you have, you are responsible for making that decision. If you don't take responsibility for the decision, it's already becoming a little bit idolatrous.
To do things the way somebody else does it.
Without taking responsibility. If you want to do something the way somebody else does, and you're taking responsibility for deciding to do that, that's fine. But if you're not taking responsibility, if you're saying, well, so-and-so is doing it, so I'm also doing it, then you're going to get into trouble. You're not going to move ahead.
Isn't there a thinking that our mission is to be like God?
Mm-hmm. And
the way to do it is not to be like a God, but to follow
his ways. Yes.
So there are things that I do or don't do because I want to follow in the way. Some of the things I don't understand why,
No,
but I do it anyway.
Yeah. Good. So what's your question? It's not a question. It's correct.
I'm not exactly sure how to say this, but using what you
Yeah.
just said, am I not making God into an idol?
No, you're making God into an idol is something that takes you away from Hashem.
Oh,
Of course, we worship Hashem. We only Hashem.
so if I follow in the ways of God, it's not avodah zarah then.
No, that's worshiping Hashem. Avodah zarah is strange service, something that takes you away from Hashem.
I did not
Yeah.
know.
Yes.
I wanted to say something to strengthen the connection of something you said. It wasn't clear to me. Maybe you said it, but I want talking about doing for others, for other people, not just for myself and Hashem, but if I really love Hashem, I'm going to do for others. And I give you an example. It's if you really love another person, you said about the children, if he's a child that's gone away, you're going to care about that, and if you can even help bring that child back. So we are Hashem's children.
Of course.
I didn't hear you say that, so I just want, because that was a missing piece for me. We are Hashem's children,
Okay, I thought it was obvious. Yeah.
and therefore,
Yeah.
I need to do not just myself and my own connection,
That's
my own
right.
individual connection with Hashem. I need to do for others because the others are Hashem's children, and Hashem loves His children.
That's right.
And therefore, if I want to do for Hashem, I also have to do for who loves Hashem's
That's right.
children. We're God's children.
Absolutely. Okay, let's go on to page 67, and then tomorrow, Wednesdays, I don't give this class, but there will be another class on Thursday. I don't know what your schedule is like, if you can come. Yeah.
Rabbi Fink is here?
Yeah, but he teaches at the yeshiva.
No.
Tomorrow, yeah. Ha'erech shel ha'olam, the value of the world.
Erech means
Value. Madua lo yipalel Noach al doro. Why didn't Noach pray for his generation? Ki Noach hamin b'Hashem. He believed in God. He Hashem bara et ha'olam. He understood that God created the world. V'achshav hu rotzeh lachriv oto, and now God wants to destroy it. Ha'olam malei anashim ra'im. The world is full of bad people. Ve'im breira, and there's no choice. Tzarich lashmid otam. They have to be destroyed. Nachon. Im mishu yomar li. It's true. If somebody would say to me, "Kaniti glida b'shekel," I bought an ice cream for a shekel. Must have been years ago. V'hi lo te'ima, and it doesn't taste good. And he's zorek ota, I'm throwing it away. So lo efke al zeh. I'm not going to cry over that. But if the person says, I bought something for $100 million and I want to throw it out, I'm going to beg him, don't do that. Noach didn't understand the value of the world. He didn't understand how precious the world is. Yeah, he knew the world is beautiful. He knew that God is one. How deep the world is, how deep every person is, lo haya lo musag, he had no idea. And therefore he didn't see the need to pray.
And Abraham did.
Abraham did,
He
yes.
knew the value.
Yeah.
So, Erech is, I thought Erech means about. Lo mean b'diuk or mean
Be'erech, approximately. Right?
It's spelled that
It's
way.
the same, spelled the same way, yeah.
This last point is connected to what I said also.
Yeah.
Because if he understood that everyone is a child of Hashem, is precious to Hashem, and has this preciousness within.
Heard you. Yeah.
So why did Abraham know the value and Noah didn't? Noah was in the doubt. God spoke to him.
I don't know how to answer that question. But that was the difference between them. I don't know why. Maybe Noach had an excuse. I don't know. Yeah. Okay, have a good Chodesh. Chodesh Tov. Thank you for coming.
I wanted to see if there was